Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston ACR, we have you loud and clear. How us?
I hear you loud and clear. Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hello, I'm Jason Downey, Chairman of the State Board of Education of the state of Georgia and a resident of the Middle Georgia community. Dames Ferry Elementary is a STEM-certified school located in Gray, Georgia, which is a small rural town in Jones County, Georgia, right here in the middle of the state of Georgia. We are excited at the opportunity to talk with our astronauts aboard the International Space Station and to give our students and our community first-hand experience and knowledge of what it's like in the field of aerospace. And with that, here's our first question.
Hi, my name is Morgan, and my question is, how do you know if it's day or night in the International Space Station?
Hi, Morgan, and thank you, Mr. Downey, and to all the students of Dames Ferry. Welcome to the International Space Station. So, Morgan, you know, it's actually kind of tough to tell that it's day or night. First of all, we go around the Earth 15 or 16 times a day. So every 90 minutes, we're orbiting the Earth. And so it's either daytime or nighttime about every 45 minutes. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of windows on the space station, so most of the time when you're working, you can't really look outside and know that it's either daytime or nighttime. But even if we could, it'd be kind of hard if that was changing every 45 minutes. So really, we just base it on the lights that we have on. So we operate on what's called GMT, or Greenwich Mean Time, and we basically turn on the lights around 7 a.m. in the morning, and we turn them off around 10 p.m., and that way that just keeps us in rhythm. And we work from about 7 a.m. to about 7 p.m., and they get some time off in the evenings. But we also get, during the day, we get some time to work out and to have meals together. So yeah, mostly we tell by the lights and just by what time of day it is.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and my question is, what effects does space have on your body?
Hi, Alyssa. So I just got up here a little over a week ago, and the first thing I noticed was how disorienting it was. On Earth, you know, we have the sensors in our inner ear and gravity telling us which way is up and which way is down. But here on the space station, you know, you can quickly make the ceiling the floor and vice versa. And so it was really confusing to me at first. Also, something you may notice when you see astronauts is they might look a little puffy in the face. I'm just kidding. We have fluid shifts from, you know, again, we're used to being in 1G on Earth, but once we come up here, we don't have that anymore. And in terms of other effects, we're studying a lot of those. We've seen that we can counteract a lot of them with exercise, keeping our bone and muscle mass and bone density where they were before we left Earth. And we're studying a lot of changes in our organs and our eyes from all the effects.
Hi, my name is Lily, and my question is, what is the most intense typing training you had to go through before going into space?
Hey, Lily. Well, we go through a lot of different training when we're up here in space. So when we first become astronauts, we train for about 2 years during our astronaut candidate training. And that's when we learn to do spacewalks in our spacesuits. We learn to fly a jet so we can think a little bit more quickly and make decisions in a very intense environment. We also learn the Russian language, and we learn a lot of things about the International Space Station. And so because we all come from different backgrounds, for some people, different things are more challenging than others. I think all of us think that physically, the spacewalk training is probably the most challenging. The spacesuit itself weighs about 300 pounds, and you practice in this gargantuan pool. And so you're essentially weightless in the pool, but just moving that much mass through water is very challenging. Academically, learning Russian can be very challenging, but for some people, flying can be really hard because you're doing flips and turns sometimes, and for some people that just makes them feel sick. So it doesn't feel great. So yeah, there's lots of really fun training, but also very challenging training. But the cool thing is we all get to learn a lot of new things.
Hi, my name is Annie, and my question is it true that you must be able to speak other languages to communicate with other astronauts on the International Space Station?
Hi, Annie. That's a great question. So, as you said, it's the International Space Station. Right now, we have astronauts from 4 different countries on board. So each morning, we get greeted, Dobro utra, Ohayo gozaimasu, good morning, and good morning. Technically, when we're operating, we have one half of the space station is conducted in English, and the other half is conducted in Russian. So we do, as Frank just mentioned, we do study Russian as soon as we get picked up by NASA. We take one-on-one lessons, and we do learn different languages also just to be able to interact with our other crewmates.
My name is Bryce. My question is, where do you sleep?
Hey, Bryce. Well, we each have our own little tiny room about the size of a phone booth. You guys probably aren't old enough to know what a phone booth is, but it was this little booth you could go into to make phone calls back before cell phones came into existence. And so they're called crew quarters, and in there we have sleeping bags. We also have a computer that we can send emails on or make calls to our family on. And then we have little odds and ends in there. So it's about the size of a phone booth. The cool thing about our crew quarters is they're essentially all lined up in one area. And so somebody sleeps on the side, somebody sleeps on the floor, on the other side, and then somebody sleeps on the ceiling. But we all feel exactly the same because, again, there's really no sense of direction up here because we're weightless. And so once you're in there, everybody feels like they're facing the same direction, even though we're all facing 4 different directions.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and my question is, how fast does a rocket accelerate when it is launching off into space?
Hi, Taylor. So I just flew on a rocket up here a little over a week ago. I flew on the Falcon 9 rocket. It took us only about 8.5 minutes to get into orbit. So we had 2 stages, the first stage and the second stage. And I'd say the maximum acceleration we felt during that was about 4.5 Gs of acceleration. But it's pretty crazy to think we got from standing on the launch pad all the way up to low Earth orbit and going 17,500 miles per hour in under 10 minutes. So it was a pretty wild ride.
Hi, my name is Hope, and my question is, why did you decide to become an astronaut?
Hi, Hope. Well, I think we all have our different reasons, but fairly common reasons. For me personally, I love the idea of being part of an awesome team. I came from the Army, and I was a part of a great team there, and the NASA team is pretty spectacular. I also love exploring. I've always had the desire to kind of go over the next hill or go climb a mountain or just see whatever's out there and go explore. I also love learning, and I've tried to learn throughout my whole life, and this presented an opportunity to continue to learn new things. So I think we all have different reasons, but all of those things, I'd say the coolest thing about this job is that we get to do all of those things together, and that's pretty special.
Hi, my name is Josie, and my question is, how does electricity work in the International Space Station?
Hi, Josie. So if you've ever seen an image of the International Space Station, you'll see that we have these big solar arrays out there. We have 4 pairs of solar arrays throughout the space station, and those basically take energy from the sun and convert it to electricity, and then we distribute that throughout the whole station. Actually, just recently we installed upgrades to those solar arrays, and Frank took part in those spacewalks. Do you want to talk about those at all?
Sure. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun to go out there and essentially
Hi,
add a
my
little
name is-
part to the space station. And those solar arrays are going to provide a lot more power, which is really important as we start to grow the International Space Station, bring commercial partners on board. So we're going to need more power. So it's really important that we got those out there.
Hi, my name is Lyndon, and my question is, how many times does the International Space Station orbit in the Earth in one day?
Hey, Landon, that's a great question. Like I said before, I think most days we orbit the Earth about 16 times. It kind of depends on when you are in your orbit when it crosses midnight. So 15 or 16 times a day. It's pretty cool to go out to the window and look outside and see yourself traveling at 17,000 miles an hour. It's amazing how fast the Earth goes by underneath you. Of course, the Earth is also rotating underneath us, and so because of that, as we orbit, we get to see a different part of the Earth during every orbit, and we pretty much get to see all different parts of the Earth, except for the poles, throughout the year. So it's really cool. The reason we don't get to see the poles is because our orbit is at a 51-degree inclination, so at a slight angle. So we never quite go over the top or quite over the bottom. We just spin around 51 degrees away from the equator.
Hi, my name is Blaze, and my question is, how do you keep active on the International Space Station?
Hi, Blaze. So it's actually very important that we stay active up here because since we don't get the normal exercise from moving around, a lot of our muscles that we would normally be using back on Earth aren't being used on a daily basis. So what we do instead is we work out every single day. We're scheduled for 2 hours of exercise. We have what's called the ARED. It's an active resistive exercise device. And that basically uses vacuum tubes to create resistance. And that's how we lift and work out and get strong. And then we also do cardio every day. We've got a treadmill. We call it T2. And so we basically wear a harness, and that pulls us down to the treadmill, and we can increase or decrease the load that we feel as we run or walk on the treadmill. And lastly, we have a stationary bike up here we call Cevis. And for me personally, that's been the most difficult part because on Earth, you know, you can use your weight to help push those pedals down, but up here, it's all your legs doing it. So we stay very active up here.
Hi, my name is Cameron, and my question is can you fall down in space since there's zero gravity?
Hey, Cameron, you know, that's a great question. So unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, no, we can't fall down. So if we just let go of our feet, which is kind of what we hang on with most of the time. We use our feet on these little rails at the bottom of what we call the floor here, and that's what keeps us standing up. But if we let go, we'll just kind of float away, and you can just push yourself back down. You come down. Now, what you can do is you can run into things a lot, and that's because if you don't push yourself in just the right way, physics comes into play, and your vector has to be just right. Otherwise, you may go off to the left or up high, depending on which way you push yourself instead of the way you intended to push yourself. But no, you can't fall down, but it can be a lot of fun to fly around here.
Hi, my name is Isaac, and my question is, why do moon rocks not float in space like everything else?
Hi, Isaac. So moon rocks, when they're on the moon, the reason they're not floating is because there is still gravity on the moon. It's just because the moon is quite a bit smaller than the Earth, it's only about 1/6 the force that it would be on Earth. So if you were to toss a moon rock up from the moon, it would go a lot higher than you'd be able to toss it on Earth. Now, if you brought a moon rock up to the International Space Station, it would float just like we're doing. because it would still be falling with the space station just like we are, and so that would keep it suspended.
Hi, my name is JC, and my question is, has an asteroid ever hit the International Space Station?
Hi, JC. Well, not an asteroid. An asteroid would be pretty big and would cause a lot of damage. But unfortunately, more and more, there's a lot of debris in near-Earth orbit. So we're at about 250 miles above the surface of the Earth, which really isn't that high. And there's lots of satellites that are up higher. There's a few things that are down below us. But all that stuff is just kind of falling around the Earth. And, of course, we are also falling around the Earth. We just happen to be falling, or I guess we should say flying, at a speed that's fast enough that our fall rate is equal to the curvature of the Earth. So we never actually get that much closer to the Earth. We just go around the Earth by falling. But all that to say, all this stuff is just flying around the Earth just like we are. And every once in a while, those tiny little pieces of debris will run into the space station. But even when it's small, when it's traveling at 17,000 miles per hour or faster, it can cause a lot of damage. So the station is built in a way to protect us against those things. And especially when you're on spacewalks, you'll go out there and you'll see some of the damage on the metal that's made to protect us, where something hit it and caused that metal to split open. And it's pretty amazing to go out there and watch it. But we don't get hit very often because, relatively speaking, we are pretty small. And so the chances of something running into us are pretty small.
Hi, my name is Cam, and my question is, what do y'all do for fun in the National Space Station?
Hi, Cam. That's a great question because, as you know, we're not just working up here. This is also where we live, and we've been doing long-duration missions. So Frank's been on orbit almost a year, so it's important to have fun while you're up here as well. Some things we do in our off time, we'll get together as a crew and just eat and share stories together. Sometimes we'll even set up some games, get a little competitive. You know, the other day we set up our version of cornhole on the space station. It turns out you have to aim differently than you would on Earth, so I hadn't quite gotten the hang of it yet. But we also have several different musical instruments on board. We have a couple guitars up here, so in your free time, people can play and sing songs as well.
Hi, my name is Gabriel, and my question is, how do y'all watch TV in space?
Hey, Gabriel. Well, like Jasmin was saying, kind of staying entertained every once in a while is a lot of fun. You know, most of the time we just go look out the window because that's about the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and it's pretty entertaining. But we have a great support crew from the ground who sends up movies and different TV shows, and basically we get that feed through satellites, and then we download it on different hard drives on the space station, and we can just watch it at our leisure. We can also just connect directly to satellite TV, just like you guys can, and we can watch TV live when we have satellite coverage. And so, yeah, we can pretty much watch anything we want recorded and live TV if we have the right coverage to do that.
This has been an amazing opportunity for our students and the community to learn about science, technology, engineering, and math, and how it can enhance your love of learning. Thank you from all of us to you.
And thank you guys. Have a great day. And to all the students of Middle Georgia, keep learning, and we can't wait to see what you guys do in the future.
Station is the Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.